And
we know how to get to you.
I'm getting old, man.
It's all right.
The Rolodex of names in my head is really big.
Hey, sometimes I be doing that in mid-conversation. You forgot thought.
I'm 50 years old, and you guys will be lucky if I remember everybody's names by the end of the show.
Okay.
So, after all these years meeting so many people, you know, that name bank gets so big. You're like, God, what's that guy's name? Where does he work? Where does he live?
Right.
But he and Dr. Eddie, they do this inclusion and equality program for city employees, and we've gotten the school district involved in that now. Iowa Central's hosted on their campus. They have a lot of their employees involved in it, and it's a great program. And they talk about some tough stuff in this.
Right.
I remember last year I sat on a panel, and you don't know exactly what they're going to throw at you, and the question was posed to me about an incident at our high school where there was some really tough racial comments made in a classroom.
Right.
And they said, they put it to the panel, and of course I was the first one they put it to. They said, what would you do? Would you stop that person in their tracks? Would you regroup later and go speak to them, or would you do nothing? And I said, I'm going to answer you as honestly as possible. And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know what I would do, but I think I wouldn't do anything at that moment.
Yeah.
Because I think it would have put me in a shock point.
Right.
And Dr. Eddie and Charles said, that's the wrong answer. And I knew it was probably not the right one. I mean, everybody wants to be the one that says righteously that, I would stop that person in their track.
You just being honest because, you know, you not.
I didn't know how I'd react because I've been in that situation either. And it really made me reflect to that. And then the second year we did the program, I actually talked about, you know, I would have a different answer for that question today than I did a year ago. And a lot of it is because of some of the things I've learned from Dr. Eddie, Charles, and others that are part of that community empowerment group on how we accept things that we probably shouldn't.
Right.
And that is a little bit of a learned culture.
Yeah.
It could be somewhat about how you were raised.
Right.
It can be the peers you associate with and how people react to those things. I was out with some guys having a couple of drinks, and one guy said to the other guy, when's your old lady coming? I'm like, dude, are we still in the world where we call women old ladies?
Yes, we are.
Evidently, some people. And I busted the guys. I busted the guy's chops about it. Yeah, I busted the guy's chops about it. And I'm like, dude, don't talk about your girlfriend like that.
Yeah. How often are you facing where you got to just be politically correct about everything that you're doing? Like, how often is it that you have to like be a robot and you can't be human?
I try not to do that, but it does happen. And that comes back to that same thing of, I don't know what to say right now.
Right.
Or I don't know how to react to what you just did.
Because I'm human.
And it's easier when maybe to react to something when it's your friends or your buddies and you're sitting around and somebody says something dumb and you're like, really, man? What's your deal?
Right.
But if you're in like a formal setting, like let's say I'm in a meeting and somebody says something just way off color, will I be politically correct about it? Probably.
Right.
But you know, the older I've gotten, the more I'm like, you know what? And to your point about opinions, I'm going to just give my opinion. Like, hey, that just ain't right.
Right. I mean, if you just really just base your everything, your opinions on just being wrong and right. Like, we know what's wrong and we know what's right. We don't got to put in none of the extra shit to how it got wrong or how it got right. You know when you're doing wrong and you know when you're doing wrong. Right.
Right. And we all have moments where we're going to do the wrong thing. It's making the effort to
just like we was talking about earlier. That's your growth.
Yeah.
That's how you grow. That's how you learn from your own mistakes. Not even necessarily watching other people make their mistakes. Yeah. You have to trip and fall and bump your head sometimes.
Yeah. And we all do, and we all have different stories of why it happened. You know, sometimes it's where you come from. Sometimes it can be drugs or alcohol.
Right.
Sometimes it can be just a reaction of violence
abusive
to something.
family.
It can be abuse.
You know,
it could be
a
so
lot
many.
of, it's a lot
it
of
could be
different
mental
ways.
health. I mean, we really have a mental health crisis.
We don't have enough resources.
We not have enough resources.
Yeah,
that's something.
Mental health is a
that
do we blame
big
our
issue.
federal government for this?
I think the blame is really on us as a society.
Mm.
I mean, we kind of, if you go back, it was when I was a kid, they started closing and getting rid of like county homes, so county mental institutions. And the idea was we need to treat people with better dignity, humanity. But then we didn't replace the service that was being provided.
Right.
We didn't evolve the services when we eliminated a lot of those.
So
things.
that just pushed everybody back out in the streets, and then there's no awareness.
And we were talking about law enforcement earlier, and I'll tell you, if you sit down and talk to law enforcement on a local level, state level, any level you want, they're often going to tell you they are responding to mental health crises.
Agreed.
Probably more than crime.
Yeah, and
I mean, people in crisis.
Yeah. But here's the thing. Are you guys implementing or putting in place like programs for police to even be aware of when they come across somebody who with a mental problem, and where you can say something's wrong with that person? It ain't just you just doing crime or whatever.
Right.
It's just a deeper problem.
So yes, there is a lot of training law enforcement is getting about mental health and how to react to it. And matter of fact, part of our funding and some of the reallocation of that funding is we now have a mental health crisis expert that will help respond when law enforcement shows up and says, hey, this isn't necessarily a crime scene. This is a mental health crisis.
Because like you said, it's more often than not now.
It really is. And a lot of crime is committed because of mental health crisis.
Exactly,
so if we can get people the service they need, the help they need, maybe it's the drugs they need, we can help them not become a statistic of crime, instead a success story of recovery from mental health or living with mental health and living a quality life versus I'm on the street now because I can't manage my lifestyle. I can't manage the things going on.
And that was something as a teenager I didn't really realize at all. I completely blew off everything my parents were teaching me, and I was just running around the streets doing drugs, thinking that.
And that could have been a mental problem. Like that could have been.
It truly was. Like
a lot of times people that aren't getting mental health service go to drugs because they use the drugs
as a
medicine.
That's exactly why I started.
And I mean, we've had drugs and alcohol in our family and abuse of those things. And
every family has.
I hear you.
Every family has.
And 2 of our 3 boys have gone and gotten treatment and gotten help about those drugs and alcohol. Are they living 100% sober? Probably not. But do they use those drugs to replace something else now? I don't think so. And I think that's the evolution of, I went and got clean, but now I understand what my real problem is, and I got to address that problem. And I can still have a beer or other recreational things.
I feel like as far as
I'm not dumb, man.
We know what you mean by
that. But I truly feel like when you're in a position of power, the best way to even like dictate, or we won't even say to dictate, but to even manage the people or even work with the people is to have a clear understanding. And actually, like you saying, because of these situations that you had in your own home, it made you get a different outlook, a whole better, broader outlook on how everybody else is in their house home and living in. Like, it's not just a cut and dry issue.
Right.
And it's not just, okay, it's not happening to my family, so fuck them,
Yeah, and people are a bit more self-absorbed now than maybe when I was a kid. The sense of community and like knowing your neighbors seemed like it was a lot more engaging when I was a kid. I mean, you knew every kid on the block.
Back then,
you knew their parents.
You could walk down the street and get whooped by
we didn't have the internet.
Yeah. And it wasn't
that's
unusual for somebody's mom to come outside and say, "You guys knocked that off."
That's what
I mean.
saying.
Now kids, somebody comes out and sells those kids to knock off. They're flipping them off and running away,
or
doing worse.
Shot.
See,
I hope not. But
I feel lucky in the sense that I was kind of at the very tail end of that whole thing, and when internet and everything started picking up, so I still had that whole outside experience, going outside, learning all your neighbors,
it's morals,
when we used to live over by Cooper School, all of those neighborhood kids, I knew all of them.
Was your dad the type to tell you, get your ass off the game and go outside and play?
Yes.
Get your ass inside before those street lights turn on.
Well, that was after I had to take you out for a couple hours.
Yep.
So,
I saw an interesting meme the other day, and it was these 3 young boys, and they're like running across like a playground, and it says, at one point in our lives, we all didn't realize that was the last time we went out to play. Have you ever thought about that?
No.
You never really think about it, but at one point in your life, you went and met your schoolyard buddies, went out to play, and you went home, and that was the last time that happened.
That was it.
Yeah, you had
But
a
you never really
lightsaber
But
think
duel
you
with
didn't
your
even
homie.
realize that would be your last time even having that type of
Engaged.
Those moments.
going outside and hanging out with your friends.
Yeah. And I think it's cool as you get older, you tend to do a lot more reflecting. And I think about being a kid, and you think about, you always knew, like, don't play down by Johnny's house because Johnny's mom will come out and chew your butt.
Right.
Or yell at you or whatever. So you knew where to play and where not to play. And you did these things. And parents were parents to not just their kids, but they would help with other people's kids. If your mom had to run to the store or something, she might call the neighbor lady and say, "Hey, I'm going to run to the store. The kids are out back playing. Will you just stick your head out and take a look at them?"
Yeah, you knew they were safe.
Community.
Yeah.
I think it was the early 80s, and I delivered the Des Moines Register newspaper route. And that was right when Johnny Gosh, you know who Johnny Gosh is?
Sounds yeah.
So he's kind of a famous kid because he was kidnapped. Delivering the Des Moines Register in Des Moines. And really, it was things like that when kids started just vanishing off the face of the earth. Parents started going, wait a minute, I got to guard these kids more.
Then you can't go outside.
It was like society just kind of shifted. It's like, well, you can play outside, but I got to be able to look out the back window and see where you're at.
That's where all the white vans come into play.
I mean, it's not even.
That's why I put Bemrich Electric on my white van. I don't want people mistaking that. So we make sure we get the lettering on those right away. 'Cause we want people to know, hey, that's an okay van, not a bad van.
That's an okay.
Not knowing that the Bemrich vans are all white.
Yeah, they are. The commercial fleet vans are typically white, and white pickups, white trucks. But we get those letters on those white vans real quick because we don't want people thinking that who's that weird white van parked down the street.
All the time.
You got to get your name on those things.
But to the point like you were making, the kids ain't even safe in school no more. With the tragedy that happened in Perry, like the kids ain't even safe anymore. Do you feel we have the safety with being parents with our kids in our system? In the Fort Dodge school system, we good?
I do. I think Fort Dodge schools and our local law enforcement have done a lot of really smart training. If that ever happened, I think we have people that know what to do. Now, how do we stop those kind of things from happening? I think if I'm going to say, if there was a way,
to do this in school.
I know. If there was a way to stop it, I think we would have stopped it.
If you want to stop that, it starts with the parents at home.
Well, guns are easy to get.
Yeah, guns are way too easy.
They are way easy to get.
We're in Iowa.
Yeah.
Well, there's guns everywhere. I own a bunch of guns. I mean, I'm not an anti-gun guy, but I think people always say, well, that's my right. Well, rights create responsibility.
Right. Exactly.
And I think there's a responsible way to own guns. I think there's a responsible way to have that right.
Right.
I just don't think we're willing to have a difficult conversation about what really makes us responsible.
Everybody's
but they
so
say until it happens in your community.
Everybody's so scared about having a real conversation, because
it becomes political.
It's all politics.
It can't be a conversation about our best interest. It's got to be a conversation about the political interest of it.
Yeah.
You know, and there's a lot of money spent on both sides of the gun issue.
Right.
And that money isn't being focused on creating the solution to the problem. It's being spent on defending the argument.
Because somebody's
the argument on
win
either side.
The next presidency off gun control.
Well, gun control, abortion, border.
Yeah.
I mean, these are all hot button topics that get people motivated to go vote.
Right.
But the money is being spent on an agenda, not on the solution.
Right.
And it really, interesting. When I first became mayor, I started talking a lot about solution-based government. So we're not going to react to things. We're going to have solutions to things.
Right.
And having solution-based government changes the dialogue from the political side of the conversation to what are we going to do for a solution? Right. How are we going to fix this? Now, on a local level, it doesn't get as political. You don't run as a Democrat or Republican to be mayor. You just run as a person that's interested in helping the community.
Right.
You go higher up the food chain, and it gets more and more political and more and more divisive. And that's why I've been asked to run for higher office.
Would you?
Yeah. Weren't you?
I wouldn't. I actually made
you were
the list.
recommended for governor once.
No,
I vote. Let's go.
I was on. I was on a list of potential people for lieutenant governor. But I did, of course, get asked to do that. So it was an honor to be somebody that just made the list.
Thought about, huh?
And a lot of that had to do with the fact that I was very supportive of labor and labor unions when the state was changing laws, stripping the rights away from workers to negotiate on behalf of their unions.
John Deere is a good example of that one.
Yeah, I mean, government has helped unions and broke unions. I mean, it's been both ways in years, and the legislature changed some laws that made it to where local government unions could only negotiate certain sections of their employment. And some of the things they took away were conditions, basically took it to where you can negotiate for wages. That's it. Well, that kind of defeats the purpose of a union.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So I came out very vocally, quickly, and said, you can pass a law that says that we're not required to, but I'm still going to support doing that. And we do still support conditions, environment, culture as part of our way to negotiate with labor unions. And here I'm on the management side, and I'm try to help unions. So I think that got me some notoriety around the state, and I didn't do it to get that notoriety. I did it because I thought it was the right thing to do. Right. I mean, these people are they're serving our community in whatever capacity, from a person picking up garbage to a person plowing snow or fixing a sewer line. They deserve dignity and respect in their job.
Yeah, of course, because it's them who are keeping the big guys running.
They keep us all running.
Everybody.
A lot of times I'll go talk to school kids, and they ask, well, what's a mayor do? And I'm like, that's hard to explain to a real little kid. So I always say, in the morning when you turn on the faucet to brush your teeth, I help make sure the water comes out of there and that it's clean.
Yep.
I work with the fire department when there's a fire in your neighborhood or
make
gas
sure
explosion.
They can get there.
I work with law enforcement to make sure our community is safe and good for you to grow up in.
Right.
I work with our parks department to make sure that the swing set's not broken and our parks get fixed and cleaned up.
You help our economy.
I definitely try to help our economy.
Such as an example like our mayor. Or I meant our mall. My bad. Our mall being like the only thing that you could go do in there was go to Dunham's. Maybe
I remember
party.
when the mall had an arcade in it.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
that was way back in the day.
I remember when the mall was a mall.
Hey, we used to go there Friday night.
Yeah, exactly.
Get a benefit to go out.
And people like to figure out a way to blame somebody for something like a mall.
Amazon.
But if you look around our country, malls started falling apart in the 90s. And through the 2000s, and then people stopped going there and they started buying everything online.
Right.
Yeah.
And it just, that's again, it's a culture shift. It's a change in how we do things. So instead of just letting that big thing sit there and rot, I went and found some people to help buy it, tear it down, and do something different with it. Has it gone perfectly? No. We just happened to buy the mall, like literally closed on the mall, and like 2 weeks later, the governor shut down Iowa because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, imagine buying a mall and then shutting the malls down.
Can't do nothing.
So, you know, we definitely have jumped a lot of hurdles that we didn't expect in redeveloping that land. But to redevelop 30-plus acres out there, it takes time, it takes money, takes talent, people, and we're getting there. And I think that this weekend in the newspaper, there's a progress edition that kind of outlines the history of how we got to where we are now. You know, we just announced Dunham's is coming back to the community, taking a bunch of space there. Yeah. We have a couple more announcements that we should hear next week officially. And there's some restaurants that I think will fall right after those
I see Chick-fil-A here all the time.
Yeah. Chick-fil-A, people love Chick-fil-A. It's chicken. I don't understand what the obsession is.
Are you asking me that?
No, I'm just asking in general. I don't get it. I mean, I like chicken.
It's not a black thing, is it?
No, it ain't. Because
or watermelon.
Jesus. All right, so I don't get the obsession with Chick-fil-A because, I'm telling you, man, I like Hardee's home-style chicken sandwich better than I like Chick-fil-A's. But people will stand in line. I know, but people will be getting that drive-through line and sit there 40 minutes to get chicken nuggets, and I'm like, man, it's chicken nuggets.
It's not worth it. It is
I
not
grew
worth
up on Chick-fil-A.
I love Chick-fil-A. Don't get me wrong, but I don't want to sit 40 minutes.
And you will stay there for the coleslaw and the chicken too.
Yeah.
I'm only doing it for Popeyes, dog. I ain't doing it for no damn
You know what's
Popeyes got dry biscuits.
Popeyes. So I was just out in North Carolina with my wife visiting some friends, and I had Popeyes out there. And
never had it?
I had never had Popeyes. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah.
I never had Popeyes. I had never gone to it. There's not a lot of Popeyes in this area.
Yeah, no, there isn't.
Des Moines got one.
Des Moines does, but I had never gone there.
Crazy, man.
I love J. Mar's chicken. J. Mar has some
J. Mar's got some.
They got some great chicken.
Aren't they shut? J. Mar's is shut. Not J. Mar's. Tom Thumb.
Yeah, Tom
Thumb. They're going out of business. They had good chicken too.
But I'm sorry. We need to definitely get either a chicken fillet here or a Popeyes or something. Like I say,
I'm all for getting more opportunity to expand our dining, for sure.
Because too many people is going to Des Moines spending their money for Popeyes only. Do you realize how many people go just to Des Moines and in their mind they having what they're gonna eat
buffet.
Is gonna be Popeyes or
China buffet. That's where I go.
A hibachi or something like that, and it's something that we don't have, and that's what everybody's looking for.
Old Boston's has great chicken. Yeah, if you ever go over here, I think on Monday night or Tuesday night, it's
all you can eat chicken.
Special.
Yeah, it's the broasted chicken.
It's roasted chicken.
Yeah. I've heard rumors.
Really, really good.
I've never had. Heard
their
rumors.
mac and cheese is really good. Their coleslaw is really good. And then
shout out to Old Boston.
I like
right next door.
That sounds like good for lunch.
I love their street tacos.
The street tacos are really good.
The street tacos are fire.
Yes.
And the guy that owns that is a good buddy of mine, Michael Payne. He and a couple other guys, they own that, Sports Page, Mineral City, and Teriyaki Madness, as well as Pancheros.
Okay.
So, I mean, they're restaurant guys.
He
can talk about restaurants.
He got going on next. What new restaurants he feel like,
he's always on the lookout for kind of like that franchise opportunity. Right. And he's the one that brought Teriyaki Madness here.
Right.
He and his partners. And I love Teriyaki Madness.
Me
it's
too.
good.
I do too.
I'm not a fan.
Really?
I'm like you. I got to keep it real. I'm not a fan.
That's all right.
Man, I'm telling you, you just got to go. When you go to restaurants, you got to know the right thing to get.
I just want chicken.
Yeah. But I'm telling you,
that's all I want.
They have some fire food there. I'm telling you.
Sorry,
I will say,
I need to tell you what their menu is. The good shit on there.
You gonna have to look it up, man.
Yeah, I will say I do like teriyaki madness, but the last 2 times I've gone there, they have burnt my chicken.
See,
man, burning the chicken. Damn, I'm trying to give y'all some ups, and you burning food already.
I'm with you. I like it.
Hey, I like their food. I normally didn't have bad experiences, but the last 2 times they burnt my chicken.
Y'all
I wasn't
gotta
very
stop
happy
burning up food and shit. I don't know who y'all got it back there.
I like the noodles, the chicken, veggies. You get the hot sauce on there.
Yeah.
Yes, you need all of it.
Yeah,
okay, now we don't want to take up all your time because we want to definitely get you back here.
Definitely,
definitely come back again
in the
sometime.
near future, so we maybe see what kind of programs and how they didn't develop and along the way. What do you like to be called, Mayor or
you can just call me Matt.
We can't call you just Matt.
Matt. Some people call me Mayor Matt.
Nah, man.
Some people call me Mayor Matt.
Okay.
My family call him Matty Bird.
Yeah, that was my nickname growing up.
Matty Bird?
Matty Bird. My grandma.
Is it okay we call you Matty Bird?
Yeah. I'd rather you didn't.
Don't call me no Matty Bird.
Matty Bird.
Hey, so, scream it out.
My grandma called me Matty Bird, and I don't know why, but she called me Matty Bird.
It's like family, so we family now, you know.
Hey,
some people call me Mayor Matt. I don't really feel like I got to wear that title.
I like to just call you Mayor because I think that's more appropriate.
You sure
for your title.
You can call me Matt. You can call me Mayor. You can call me Mayor Matt. Yeah.
I say when we get on a more personal level, then I won't call you Matt in public.
Yeah.
I just but in public we'll call you Mr. Mayor Matt.
If you run into me out having a cocktail or something, call me Matt.
Don't call you what?
Don't call me Mayor.
Say what was that?
Matty Bird.
Don't call him Matty Bird.
Yeah. No, it was fun doing the show with you guys.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks for doing your show.
Thank you.
I think things like this help connect people to the community.
Yeah.
It gives them an opportunity to hear from somebody I hope your audience that listens to this says, I didn't know that about him, or he's a lot different than I would have expected, because a lot of people think I'm staunchy, which I can
because they probably never met you, or they only seeing you when you're on the board doing your job.
Yeah,
so you gotta be
mayor shit.
But I'm a real person just like anybody else, and I got a real family.
Yeah.
We've had our real issues, and we've had our real successes and things, and it's part of life.
We're grateful for having you. We're grateful for you coming. Because hopefully this is going to open up a lot of doors for us as well, for the community. And like I said, for you small businesses out there, we got the mayor now. So stop being afraid to come talk to us. We're not going to embarrass you too much. But, we just going to, put your business out there, put whatever you got going on out there. Can you give us a couple of your politician constituents?
Yeah. Like I said, definitely go see Jefferson.
Okay.
I think he'd be a great guy for you guys to connect with.
We're going to tell him that you told us to come.
Do it.
Yeah.
Do it. It'd probably be great to get Charles on here.
He's coming. He's supposed to be here at 11:30.
Oh, sweet. So you guys are rolling all day today.
Yeah, we're rolling.
Right, you're busy.
Yeah.
He'd be a great guest on here.
Yeah.
You could
He's gonna
reach
be our
out.
usual.
You could reach out to our police chief Denny Quinn.
Okay.
See, he's been really, really doing a good job of getting out and educating people about what his vision for law enforcement in Fort Dodge looks like, and why we want to add these officers, what those officers are going to do to support this community. So, getting an opportunity to talk to him and getting to viewers that he may not be getting to in other avenues might be a great thing for him and you guys to be able to have some conversations.
And we was also wondering.
I'm not going to promise that he'll do it.
No, there's no promises. We just, we just plan things, But
it'd be worth calling him and just saying, hey, we got this podcast we're starting up and we're talking about local stuff, and would you want to do it?
Well, we want to also, be in touch with you, and because we want to start helping the community. We're going to, do barbecues and, give away some of our clothing to people and just, rewards and stuff for people, coming in and talking to us. And
there's some other guys that do some podcast stuff and some Facebook Lives and stuff. One is Troy Schroeder. He has a photography studio down the street, small business. Grant knows him.
He's really cool.
He's done some cool stuff. Like he just has a coat rack that he puts out in front of his business, and he asks, like, if you got a coat at home that you don't wear anymore, please bring it down and hang it there. And then people pick them up, and he's got like a basket with gloves and hats and stuff in it, and people just migrate there, and they might take a coat off and hang it and put a different one on and move on. But he's done a lot of cool stuff. And then the guys that own Shiny Top do a couple podcasts where they talk about things going on in the community and stuff. So
we
creating a synergy with some of these people in our community
Top also does,
and broadening your audience and maybe broadening their audience is how we get people educated about what's really happening. Because we all hear things. And then we also see the keyboard warriors on things like Facebook and Twitter and stuff that
you always got them lawyers.
Yeah,
it's very harsh.
I'll tell you, I don't often read comments on Facebook because it just kind of drives me crazy.
It's discouraging.
People don't go get the right information, or sometimes the information's right above where they're posting, and they don't bother to even look at it. They just jump to keyboard warrior, and they're going to argue, and it's like Facebook's become a place to argue versus a place to educate, and I think that's sad because I think it's a great tool, but people just go wild on there, and they make assumptions and they argue with each other, and next thing you know, the post isn't even about what the post is anymore. Now it's all about the arguing.
What point they trying to make?
I don't care if people want to argue about a topic, but do it with facts, not with emotion, and not just because you want to argue.
Right.
Because I think some people go there to get rid of their frustrations.
They do. They do. Well, like I said, we're grateful that you came in, and we hope we can give you a call back later in the near future.
Well, you know somebody that knows how to get hold. I know, and he knows where I live, and he knows how to find me.
Welcome to the family, then.
Definitely. I'm proud of this young man and the stuff he's trying to do with you guys, and I'm glad to be one of your guests on your show. So we'll do it again.
Definitely. I'm your boy DJ Illinois.
Thank you. We in life with your boy Chanel.
Let's go.
And DJ Illinois. Thank you.
You bet.